Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Suzlon Energy Limited Q3 FY24 earnings conference call hosted by JM Financial. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Sudhanshu Bansal from JM Financial. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sagar. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of JM Financial, I welcome you all to the conference call of Suzlon Energy Limited to discuss the third quarter FY24 results. We have with us the leadership team of JSW Suzlon, comprising of Mr. J.P. Chalasani, Group CEO, Mr. Himanshu Modi, Group CFO. Thank you so much, sirs, for your kind giving JM Financial the opportunity to host the call. With this, I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Chalasani for opening remarks and taking the call forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. Good evening and thank you for joining us on our Q3 FY24 earnings call. I hope you had an opportunity to review our results and investor presentation. We will now share with you an overview of the industry and we'll walk you through our quarter 3 performance. We will then take your questions. India has witnessed a renewed optimism backed by the good policy initiatives from the government with a clearly laid roadmap for grid connectivity with an approach for accelerating the deployment of wind turbine installations. The 2030 target of non-fossil fuel-based capacity includes a healthy mix of wind and solar capacities. As per the optimal cost generation mix outlook for 2030, the wind capacity in India is required to reach 100 gigawatts as a base case scenario. On top of this target, there is a sizable demand from C&I segment, which further boosts up the demand outlook for wind. In line with the new market scenario, wind capacity additions are now happening across all 8 windy states. This can be seen in the order book state mix in the latest investor presentation. There will also be pooling of tariff which will reduce the average cost of procurement of power for consumers and at the same time will improve economic feasibility of new wind projects across different sites in India. With respect to order book, our cumulative orders of 3,157 megawatt include order book as on December 31st, which is 2,290 megawatt plus orders announced subsequently of 867 megawatt from Everrenew and Everin. This is a well-diversified and healthy order book from marquee customers. Our endeavor going forward is to pursue quality orders with higher value and better margins. Our prime focus remains on executing and building an order book. The order from Everin, a Brookfield entity of 642 megawatt, is the single largest order won by Suzlon in India. This shows scaling up of project sizes in India and confidence in Indian market. Our OMS business continues to do well with over 14.5 gigawatts of capacity in India. The growth of the wind sector will also help FE Forge as a major source of revenue comes from the supply of wind components. With strong fundamentals and strong sectoral tailwinds, Suzlon is now well equipped to leverage the market opportunity arising from the energy transition. I would now like to invite Himanshu to take you through our financial performance.
Thank you, JPC sir, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would be using slide numbers 17 to 24 of our investor presentation, which has now been uploaded on our website as the reference point for my discussion during this presentation. Q3 FY24 has seen us register robust improvement in all our key parameters and fundamentals have strengthened with a focus on the bottom line. We have made deliveries of 170 megawatts in Q3 FY24. On the P&L front, renewed focus on bottom line has resulted in substantial reduction in quarterly net finance costs by over 94% year-on-year basis. So we stand at about 5 crores in Q3 FY24 versus 80 crores in Q3 FY23. Depreciation of 38 crores in this quarter is comparatively lower on account of lower amortization of molds for our S120, which is the 2.1 megawatt models. Consolidated PAT before exceptional items for Q3 FY24 stands at rupees 203 crores versus Q3 FY23 of rupees 78 crores, registering a growth of 2.6 times in a PAT. Talking of 9-month performance, consolidated PAT before exceptional items, it has gone up from rupees 433 crores in 9 months FY24 versus rupees 98 crores for 9 months of FY23, registering a 4.4 times year-on-year growth on our PAT numbers. We are pleased to report a very strong and healthy balance sheet as of December 23, which demonstrates a very strong position of strength, where our net worth stands at 3,626 crores and our net cash position stands at 719 crores as of December 2023, vis-a-vis a net debt of 1,180 crores as of March 23. So this is a swing of over 2,000 crores in a matter of 9 months. The economy, of course, is on a very strong footing, as said by JPC sir, and the sectoral tailwinds that we are witnessing continue to be very strong with a renewed focus on the renewable energy sector. And all of this augurs very well for Suzlon. With that, I'd like to conclude my brief presentation, and we can now open the floor for any Q&A that the callers may have. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets only while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. And it's very heartening to see a strong accretion order book. So my first question is, of course, we have very strong order book, but execution, especially in the Q3, has been only 170 megawatt, while we are having an order book of 3.2 gigawatt. So can we see a higher execution in Q4? And can you give some tentative timeline of execution of this entire order book of 3.2 gigawatt? Hello?
Apologies for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the line for the management has been dropped. Please stay connected while I reconnect the line back. Ladies and gentlemen, the management line is connected back.
Say about this. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Should I repeat myself, sir?
Please, Mohit. We heard only partly. Please go ahead.
My question was, the execution for the Q3 was only 170 megawatt, while you're carrying an order book of 3.2 gigawatt. How do you see the execution in Q4, and how one can expect these 3.2 gigawatt to flow into our revenues for the next some tentative timelines? Yeah.
The order book, what we have 3.2 gigawatts, Mohit, what you're saying is partly small capacity of that is for this year, and significant portion is for the next year, that is FY25, and also for FY26. As you know, now the orders are becoming long-term, anywhere between 18 to 24 months is what the supply completion is happening from the order date. So that's how the orders are. So therefore, this will get split between small portion this year, significant portion next year, and the following year, FY26. As far as this year concerned, yes, we delivered 170 gigawatts this quarter. But obviously, the question is that when so much large order book, why only 170? There are two factors for that. One is that we deliver as per the requirement of the project sites. As you know, that a significant portion of our order book is also non-EPC, depending upon the sites we deliver. That's one. There are some clients who rescheduled their requirements because of the likely delay in their evacuation system, the CTU connected system, or some places with the land. Plus, also we had little slow progress internally because of the delay in tying up the working capital, which has come in, significant portion has come in December. So I think these put together is what it has created, the volumes, but now we expect now it to continue to grow, because as far as we are concerned, now the working capital is there and the orders are there.
Understood. So are you maintaining the execution guidance of 800 megawatt for this fiscal?
I don't think we ever gave a guidance. This is the expectation of the market. So I neither say yes nor say no at this stage.
Understood, sir. My second question is on the given we have seen a very high tendering activity from the PSU side, especially NTPC, Suzlon, SJVN, and NLC. And I think there are certain tender out from GAIL for 300 megawatt. This is sizable opportunity. Are you participating? Are we participating in these tenders?
No, we don't. We are a OEM and EPC player. We don't participate in the bids directly. We support anybody participating in the bids, pre-bid tie-up, or the post-bid they come to us for implementation of this. But we don't directly participate in this because we are not an IPP. So therefore, but you're right. There's a significant amount of bids done till now, and as well as being announced. In fact, as we speak, I think there's roughly about 15 gigawatts of bids are open today. And then we expect, depending upon the different types of models, about 15 gigawatts of wind would be there in that model. And then for us, it's an opportunity, not as a participant.
So I was referring to the wind OEM tenders, which NTPC has 1,000 megawatts.
OEM tenders, okay. Yeah. We are looking at them, but right now we are not yet started participating in the PSU tenders because of some of the requirements of qualification criteria with respect to network, the previous ones. So therefore, once we get qualified, we'll bid for that. As our balance sheet is getting strengthened, then we get qualified for that, then we'll participate. We used to participate earlier, but in between, because of our the balance sheet going negative net worth, so that we don't meet the qualification criteria. So moving ahead, now we will qualify. Then we'll start participating. Sorry, I took it as we are talking about tenders, not EPC tenders. I took it otherwise. But in EPC tenders, we would participate in future, but right now we are not participating.
Okay. My last question is on the EPC order book. I think is 25%, if I'm not wrong. We thought the EPC order book will see a slightly higher accretion. Is there something to? Can you just please comment on that? Why the EPC order book is right on the lower side?
You see, in fact, if you look at including what we announced yesterday, it's about 28% is our EPC order book. But having said that, EPC, when we say it is actually the end-to-end, but otherwise the rest of the portion is an SIM. It's like we do a part, there are three categories. We do EPC, we do equipment supply, erection, and then we do the equipment supply. So there are different categories. So it depends upon what market wants. So if the people want EPC, then we offer the EPC services. People want the supply the equipment and do the erection, we do that. If the people want supply, erection and foundations, we do that. It's a question of, we provide a la carte of services. It's for them to choose. So what is in the market, we can meet end-to-end requirements. And in fact, we are the only OEM, I repeat, we are the only large OEM in India today which offers end-to-end EPC services.
Understood, sir. Thank you and all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Kothari from Grit Equities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, sir. First of all, very congratulations and for the amazing result, and also for winning such a large single order of 642 megawatts. Congratulations for that. And sir, can you help me understand more on the ecosystem regarding the EPC, or we can say BOP system in place? considering the significant increase in the wind sector, so how is this industry gearing up to cope up with the requirement of the OEM manufacturers? I would like to understand it on three fronts. How Suzlon itself is gearing up for the execution, how IPP players, if they are looking to execute on their own, and is there any significant players available to take up this execution task?
I will talk about Suzlon and I'll talk about the sector. Obviously, how IPP is coping up, I'm not the right person to answer the question. As I was answering the previous question, as far as Suzlon is concerned, if anyone wants an EPC scope, we are there to provide an EPC scope. And if anyone wants the part of it, and we are there to provide the part of it. We are, as I said earlier also, that we are the only OEM who provides EPC. Other OEMs today are not providing EPC services. So therefore, what's happening is that for post-equipment supply, the balance work to be done, whether we call it as BOP work, things like that, we need to depend upon the other players who are coming up in the market today. But we don't, in our view, we still don't have enough capacity built up in that, which is what you're really seeing in terms of capacity addition. Even in the first 9 months, we're still struggling at 2.1 gigawatts of capacity addition, when we had a much bigger target for this year. So that is one going to be a constraint moving ahead. One is the capacity building and execution of BOP, and second is still there's a concentration of projects in places like Karnataka and things like that. So there are issues with respect to land acquisitions that are delaying it. It's a fact. The land availability is delaying, plus the execution capabilities. So therefore, we are continuing to struggle, and we will continue to struggle for some more time in terms of overall capacity addition in the country.
Okay. And sir, also regarding like the 3 megawatt wind turbine, I understand there would be different height and different set of cranes requirement for this. So considering that in earlier time there was like 2 megawatt turbines, so crane requirement were different. So is there still like is the industry with regards to crane availability still there? Is coping up with respect to the growth in the wind industry?
Yeah. Answer is yes, because the crane supplier companies are also tracking the sector in a big way, and then they know that what models are coming up in much in advance. Even when we start, announcing a new model and putting up the prototype, they know that Suzlon is coming out, coming out this model. They sit with us, they understand what is the requirement of the cranes, and they get those cranes in time. In fact, right today we are tied up already for the cranes what we need for the next year. So there are adequate cranes available as long as you're talking to these people in advance and then looking them up. And because we are constantly in this business, we do have a relationship with each of the crane suppliers. So we don't see, in our case, obviously I can't comment on the everybody's case, we don't see that as a constraint, including for 160 meter up height turbines what we're going to do now, 3.15 megawatt 160 meter.
Okay. And sir, last question regarding this hybrid project. I understand lots of projects are also coming in the hybrid in nature with solar and wind together, or solar and battery, wind plus battery, etc. RTC based. So how Suzlon participates or provides its products to the other players in such kind of order segments?
Yeah. If you look at analyze the 15 gigawatts of orders in bids which are outstanding today, 9.5 gigawatts is what you call this FDRE bids, fixed dispatch renewable energy bids, okay? That which would include the solar, wind, and storage system. And then about 2.6 gigawatts is a pure wind bids. So you don't find the pure solar anywhere, but you will significantly the bids 15 gigawatts major capacity is for FDRE and pure wind bids. In the 15 gigawatt bids, equivalently 15 gigawatt is required if you want to meet different types of 15 gigawatts of wind is required, different types of bids. So when the IPP, let's say, is doing an FDRE or doing a hybrid, for the wind portion they approach us, then obviously we'll develop the wind project for them. No one has come to us till now. If they come in future, if there is a hybrid to coordinate the whole thing, we are willing to coordinate. But otherwise, we will provide the pure wind portion of it.
Okay. Thank you. That's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Raj Rishi from DCPL. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to understand your perspective on this supply side. Like demand side, the government is talking about a certain level of capacity addition for the next 5-7 years. CNI is talking about a certain level. Green hydrogen is there and repowering, etc. is there. So that's the demand side, which seems to be very robust. Now, as far as the supply is concerned, do you foresee any chance of oversupply in the domestic market in India? Or that's just would like to hear you out on this.
I think the demand obviously is expected to be there because you're seeing the opportunity itself. Obviously, the whole demand is not being today subscribed to. If you look at roughly about 13 gigawatts or something, including the mutual option was bid out recently, total put together, but subscription is only about 7 gigawatts. What would decide is not the supply of equipment. The capacity addition would purely depend upon how much can we convert the supply turbines into commissioned capacity. That's where the constraint we're facing today in the country. So as I said sometime back, that is what is going to decide as a country how much we are going to add the capacity. If that keeps getting slowed down and not ramping up significantly, then obviously you will have a backward impact on how much will be the supplies required. So it's basically the commissioned capacity would actually decide the demand on the supply of equipment, but not the demand of the grid or demand of the C&I customers. That's our clear view.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nikhil Abhyankar from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you, and congrats on a good set of numbers. So my first question is regarding the profitability of WTG segment. So it has been low in the first 9 months. So what exactly is the reason for this, sir? And how will be the trend be going forward?
So, hi, Himanshu. So, in terms of WTG segment, we've always maintained that, our break-even points are close to about 600 megawatts. So, so long as we're able to deliver 600 megawatts in any given year, the WTG business, manufacturing business on its own, will break even at the EBITDA level after meeting the fixed costs. So we continue to maintain that. In the 9 months so far, we've done about 437 megawatts of deliveries. So a large part of the fixed costs have, already been absorbed through these deliveries that have happened over the 9 months. And of course, based on the deliveries that we do in Q4 of this financial year, I think the WTG segment is well on its way to have a reasonably decent operating profit on its standalone basis.
Okay, so as and when the volumes increase, probably next year, the margins are expected to go up.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And so the second thing was regarding it is industry-specific question. So recently, pure wind tenders have seen, like, if the tender is for, say, 100 megawatts, the bidding is done only for 20, 30, 40 megawatts. So what exactly is the reason for this? What are the problems that IPPs are facing?
I think it is not specific to the wind. As I said sometime back, overall 13 gigawatts bidding done, about 7 gigawatts subscribed. Even if you see the latest hybrid bid of DUVNL, which is including wind show option, was 1,000 megawatts, which was the latest bid happened in end of January. So only 200 megawatts has got subscribed. So that is not as specific to wind. It is generally what's happening is that compared to the bids what are coming in, the subscription level is becoming a little low. That could be because everybody has got already bid out earlier bid and then acquired capacity. And second, also it is also because there could be a potential diversion of concentration towards the C&I segment and the big PPAs. So that could also be another reason we assume that there is an under subscription, but that is not specific to the wind.
Okay. So what exactly happens to this unallocated capacity? Will it be tender?
There's coming up, like let's say that now as we speak, where I said that only 7 gigawatts is subscribed. The next 15 gigawatts of bits out, they're already in the market.
Okay.
So which I said that 9.5 gigawatts of FDRE and about 2.6 gigawatts of pure wind base, whether it's SECI or NTPC or NHPC, those bits are there out there already in the market. The government will continue to come out with bids. So if they undersubscribe, fine, the next bid will come again.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you. That's all from us.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. If you have a follow-up question, you can rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Deepesh Agarwal from UTI Asset Management Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. My first question is, of the current order book, how much is the pure product supply that is without erection?
It's EPC is about 28%, 30%, let's say 70% is the non-EPC. In that you will have let's say almost like 50%, which is pure equipment supply versus some portion of either erection or some other portion is included. Okay.
Okay. So would there be a possibility of delays in projects where only product supply is there because the customer erection is dependent on customer?
Yeah. So we are seeing not just the delays. In fact, we are also seeing some of our equipment which got supplied, let's say 3-4 quarters back, are still getting commissioned. So there are obviously delays. That's the point which I was making earlier. As a sector, we are facing headwinds in terms of capacity build up for doing the BOP work, on ground work. So not the supply constraint, but more so on the project execution side. Because there are hardly any large players in the project execution. As I said that, we're the only large OEM which is doing the project execution, but others don't do it.
Okay.
They only just supply the equipment, and that's how the job is over.
Sure. So in terms of your delivery commitment to the clients, how much of this 3157 megawatt would be for next year?
I can't say that because that would actually giving you guidance indirectly. As I said sometime back in this 3.2 gigawatts of order book, whatever we said yesterday, significant portion of that is for FY25 and also some portion of that is for FY26. But specifically to say when it is difficult for 2 reasons. One is that what schedule we agreed today is different, and also that when project starts getting executed, then what would become the actual delivery schedule depending upon the client side and everything would be different. So unless you get closer, then you won't be able to firm up what is the likely schedule. For the reasons what we discussed sometime back on the site readiness and project readiness and execution capabilities.
Sure. And sir, last time when we met, you mentioned that despite having a 4,500 megawatts, there would be a gradual increase in the capacity. Basically, you'll have to invest in some of the capacity on supply chain, etc. So can you help us understand the ramp up in both erection capacity and the product supply capacity, how that is happening now?
In the erection capacity, there is nothing called the capex which is required. So what is required is your organization bandwidth increasing. For each project you open up, then you get a set of leadership and the workforce required there. That we keep expanding from time to time, just depending upon what capacity we're executing on this. There is no significant capex required in terms of project execution. As far as the supply is concerned, currently whatever capex is required, we have already committed. Am I right, Himanshu? For the
Yes. So on the capex side, then there is a sustenance capex of about 100 crores, which historically the company has been incurring. But particularly for the ramp up that we are seeing to invest in the 3 megawatt molds, we may be looking at a delta capex of about 250 crores a year. So which we are quite comfortable with meeting from our own internal accruals.
Okay. So practically, if the orders are available, we can even go to 4,500 megawatt execution in a year.
It's not so simple, to say the capacity. Manufacturing capacity versus the supply capacity are two completely different parameters. And we might have a 4 gigawatts of supply capacity, but that is when you run this like a flat-out machine. Okay? But it doesn't happen that way. If your couple of your turbines are made ready but not taken, not dispatched, then you don't have a place to manufacture the next one. So therefore there will be these things. Therefore, if one is creating how much is the manufacturing capacity, these are not like a mass production, you just produce and send it out. It also depends upon offtake of capacity. Again, we come back to the same thing. Everything gets decided based on what is the offtake at the project sites. That would decide our manufacturing capacity, that would decide our supply capacity. Yes, if everything is ideally, if whatever we produce is taken out on time, what we say is right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Adesh Mehta from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on good set of order inflows. I just wanted to understand, since January is already over, would it be possible to know what is our execution run rate for January?
We don't provide, unfortunately, we don't provide the guidance. So we have not been providing earlier as well. Okay, no worries, sir. And sir, in terms of, when we are seeing the new tenders, right? We are seeing that the delays have been, especially the SECI and the NTPC tender, the delays have been, slightly more than what we would have initially expected. And even then, the bid, there is some delay in the bidding as well. Sir, can you, as an industry participant, articulate that, why the recent FDRE, contracts are running in some delays, and even in terms of bidding, not the entire amount is being bid for. It's a question of appetite in the sector today for absorbing the bids. Okay. So that's what we were discussing some time back. Obviously, there is an undersubscription on an overall basis with respect of what type of a bid it is. That could be one because the players are currently a bit saturated, or also they're looking at the risk of execution, so therefore they don't want to take the risk beyond the X amount of capacity which is already bid and taken. Third, one of the reasons also mainly could be because many of these people are concentrating on C&I segment, which doesn't come to the bidding route. So this is outside. In fact, even if you look at our current order book, what we have, it is 50% is C&I. Got it. So in fact, we log in more, but for the large order what we announced yesterday, otherwise our C&I segment is significantly more. So that could also be causing, people absorbing less in terms of big PPAs, which is an utility PPA. Got it, sir. So, sir, while there is a saturation at the developer level, there could be some transmission bottlenecks, right? Sir, would those delays continue? What is your outlook on, how long can these delays continue? I wish I have an answer, exact answer for that. Let's look at this year. This year is 2.1 gigawatts done in the 9 months. So our estimate is anywhere between 3.2 to 3.5 gigawatts is what we'll achieve this year. Okay. Okay. And when you're saying this year, so basically in 3 months, another 1 gigawatt of execution should happen on ground. 1 megawatt of commissioning will happen on ground, not execution. So execution is in different phases because some phases it may be in fact even ready, but substation is not ready, so they're not commissioned. So another 1 gigawatt of commissioning will happen. Okay. Outer limit. So like a 2.1 could go to 3.1 to 3.5. That's the best case scenario what could happen. And compared to what we were thinking as a country, we will cross that FY17 figure of 5.5 gigawatts. Okay. So therefore, again, what would happen in FY25? Our estimates are, as a country, if we resolve some of these capacity building issues in terms of BOP, maybe we could do 5 to 6 gigawatts next year. So,
okay. So FY25 5 to
more than the transmission constraints that would be there, but more than that is execution constraints what you're facing in terms of capacity as well as availability of land, right of ways, etc.
Got it, sir. So next year 5 to 6 gigawatts should be doable, right?
That's our estimate at this stage. That's our view. So actually, government might be thinking more. So even this year, we always maintain it will be sub 4. That's the guidance what we've been saying sectorally. I think that's what would happen. It could be max 3.5 this year.
Got it, sir. Wish you all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Datta from Anand Rathi Share and Stock Brokers Limited. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, can you just update, given the favorable economics Chinese players have got because of economies of scale, how big is the threat for imports when the demand access scenario improves?
You mean the wind turbine imports?
Yes, sir.
No, wind turbine per se cannot get imported because of the size of blades and size of the things. What people can do is that they can import the raw material. Okay, that's what some of the large players today in the market are doing, is because first of all, you can supply only provided you have got a listing in RLMM or terminology. RLMM also provides for either you manufacture or you assemble in India. So therefore, once they get listed in the RLMM, they can import the raw material. And that is what some of the players are doing today, importing the raw material but converting them into turbines here. For example, blades are there. You can get the entire raw material from there, which is a major cost of it, and converting into blades by putting the molds here. And you get all your knockdown condition equipment and assemble them as a nacelle and send it. So that's what can happen. And tower is basically anybody can do with steel manufacturing here. Import of components is happening, but not import of turbines per se.
Okay. But we can do the assembly, any player who is registered in the directory can actually import from China at a lower cost and assemble in India and participate in the bid?
Yeah, right now there is, as long as your turbine is photo test done in India, photo test done and certified and got listed in RLMM, yes, you can import equipment. Today there is no specific restriction of that how much component, how much portion of your wind turbine has to be domestic, how much has to be imported. That restriction doesn't exist today. Theoretically, you can import 90-95% of your material from outside and convert them, assemble them or convert them into place and then supply. Yes.
Okay. And secondly, sir, when you say the non-EPC part is 70%, what do you exactly mean? It will be like parts of the wind turbine, blades, or how do you define that?
No. When I said the EPC scope means it includes the land, securing the land, developing the land, doing the foundations, doing the erection, doing the facility system, doing the pooling substation, and integrating the whole thing. That's the EPC. Okay. So whereas the other portion is that one extreme is the other extreme end is that we just supply the equipment and we supervise the erection and commissioning. We only supervise. We supply the equipment. We deliver the equipment at the doorstep of the project. That's the other extreme. In between the two, there could be different variations saying that, we can supply plus do the erection, or we can go supply some erection plus foundation, but don't do the land portion or don't do the certificate system. There are different models. That scope can keep varying, and we cater to any type of a scope. We supply Kali as well as we supply the a la carte menu.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhruv Muchal from HDFC Asset Management Company. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So the question was that the execution probably, as you mentioned, is probably a big thing to monitor and see. So, next year you mentioned probably the industry can do probably 5-6 gigawatt. But so over, say, next 3-5 years, do you see the ecosystem and, the setup moving towards a greater than 6 or probably 8 gigawatt? Because it seems demand is there, whatever multiple factors as have been mentioned earlier. Can the execution, exceed 6-8 gigawatt per annum? Is that the site visible there? And do you think the ecosystem is moving in that direction?
Okay. Obviously, there is going to be an improvement from year on year. Like for example, we have been struggling in the last 5 years to do anywhere between 1.5 to 2.1 gigawatts. Whereas in this year, the first 9 months, we've done 2.1 gigawatts. So there is an improvement. There is a wish in the complete industry, including government, that we should hit 8 gigawatts a year. Whether that will happen in FY20, definitely not in FY25 in our view. Whether it will happen in FY26 or FY27 is what we need to wait and see. But the capacity building is happening. There are more and more players coming in terms of providing BOP services. But then how much, how quickly and how fast they can do, plus the issues like, as I said, that one is at capacity, second is the land-related issue of continuing to grow. But that problem to some extent will get reduced once we do the multi-state bidding. Okay? Because then the concentration of projects won't happen. Today, Karnataka is the peak. You go to Karnataka, then you will see how people are really struggling to get even one footprint in the first place. With new bidding coming up and the bidding for MP, the bidding for other places, now slowly the Andhra Pradesh is opening up. So if you see the matrix today, the number of states what we're getting the orders is diversifying it. If that happens, obviously your land problems also would come down. So therefore, we slowly reach towards 8 gigawatt. But when we won't be able to get this stage, maybe by FY27.
Got it. And so you mentioned that concentration away from land, multiple states will help. But is that a constraint for developers? Because, say, for example, if you move to MP, the cost of generation increase, is that a factor? I'm just trying to understand. Is that the reason they're not moving, themselves moving there? What's holding them back? If the issue is...
If you move to MP, the developers, there will be land available. To solve the problem of tariff going up in the states where the wind potential relatively is low is what they came up with this pooling tariff concept.
Pooling tariff, okay, got it.
They announced, in fact, they put the Grid India as an operating agency and the whole notification has come up except for the date from which it gets applicable. In fact, this pool tariff system is not just for the wind alone, they're saying for every type of model, pure wind, pure solar, pure hybrid, put together is this thing. And based on each capacity coming into the pool, there will be revision in the overall tariff, and which is what Grid India will indicate from time to time. The bidders will continue to get the tariff what they quoted, but the tariff for the discoms would keep changing based on the pool.
Got it. Yeah, I understand. That has followed, sir. So the second question...
What happens is the diversification in the states happen, and then the land availability happens. Second option is that do a proactive development. So today we are trying to do a proactive development in the states of AP and Rajasthan with the government cooperation of identifying X amount of land, saying that, okay, this is the area you get rights to develop. So therefore, we are going ahead in that model and working with the different clients, saying that let's do the joint development, we'll first secure the land, so that it will be quick to do the projects. Even that model we started right now in the AP as well as in Rajasthan.
Got it. And sir, thanks, sir. And the second question was on the hybrid projects. I think earlier you mentioned, some of the comment you mentioned that you're okay. You're also looking at doing both wind for a hybrid project, the solar portion also. So what component are we, looking at doing there? The whole ecosystem of solar or just the APC? Yeah.
We are not, we don't volunteer to do solar, let me be clear. We don't want to volunteer to solar because that is not our forte. Okay? Because we need to buy everything and give it, and the EPC is margin hardly anything. But if someone says that, we don't want to bifurcate and give it to different parties, would you want to take up hybrid? We will look at that option as a whole. Okay, but there has to be a large portion of wind and smaller portion of solar. But till now, nobody has come up because obviously everybody implements the projects to their strength. In solar, most of the people procure their own modules and just get the players to do implementation. They are giving the wind portion to us. That requirement has not come. I only said if such a scenario arises, we will definitely consider. But that is not our preferred option.
Got it. Perfect, sir. Thank you so much and all the best. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of DA from Nivesha Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Sir, I had a question related to the crane availability. It is more sort of from an industry point of view. I just wanted to understand it. So I understand that the company has good contracts and good relations with the crane rental companies. But I wanted to understand from an industry perspective that is the availability of high tonnage cranes, is there a shortage in them?
See, the infrastructure constraints at initial stages will happen. It all depends upon what is the ramp-up rate. Let's say that this year we do 3.5 gigawatts. Next year you want to do 8 gigawatts. Then obviously that do we have a required infrastructure, then sufficient cranes available or not would become an issue. But if you're moving 3.5 to 5, 5 to 7, it's a different situation. Not just the cranes. Cranes is only one part of it. Your entire transportation ecosystem. Because these are the large diameter the turbines are coming up now. So all that becomes an important which place the project location is there, because the route survey, logistics, and those also will become constraints. Some places we need to modify some bridges, strengthen the bridges. But I think that's what is that will always be there for any power project to do, whether you're doing a fossil fuel-based project or wind projects. These will be there. But looking at the entrepreneurship in the crane companies, if there is a demand, I don't see them actually ramping up that capacity. There could be a slight mismatch here and there, but I don't see that as an issue at all, because there are enough cranes available globally for this capacity.
Correct, sir. And sir, are we seeing any increase in the rentals of these cranes, the high tonnage cranes particularly?
This is this depends on time to time. It's our question of supply demand situation. And once we have a long-term contract and then we have a relationship with these people working for, let's say, 10 years, 15 years, then that relationship would be different. So I wouldn't be able to comment for the market as a whole. It depends a lot on your relationships, what sort of a minimum guaranteed capacity you're giving it to them. The number of factors which play a role in terms of your pricing.
Correct, sir. Also, sir, I had this question that, we face a lot of the EPC players particularly face a lot of difficulties in the land acquisition process. So is there any relief from the government, or are there any policies helping the wind sector in the acquisition part?
See, this is land is a state subject. Okay. So each state you go, you need to work with the local authorities to see that how quick it happens. Even if there's a process, implementation could become potentially an issue. This will continue. It's a revenue land. You have a little more easier. It's a private land. It's more cumbersome. Some states where there's more and more revenue land. And state to state it differs. Maybe if you go to Rajasthan, it's much quicker, but today it's Karnataka, it's difficult. So it varies. But this is a problem which we need to live with it where we are. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's tougher. And, we need to continue. And this is not new to just the wind sector. The land acquisition has always been an issue for any infrastructure project. And more so for the wind, because you have multiple footprints and then also you need to have pathways. And your cranes have to reach, your blades have to reach the site. So these problems will be more. That is the reason what we are facing the more roadblocks in terms of execution.
Correct, sir. Sir, I had this company-specific question that as we have a very good, non-EPC order book, so are we looking at higher execution from a point of deliverables in maybe a year or so in FY25 or 6?
I think you mean higher delivery of equipment?
Higher deliveries of WTG.
What happens is that when we are doing EPC, then it is our organized capability of how much is the land acquired and then how much is the equipment acquired. To that, if we add the clients who are doing their own acquisition of land, there are obviously multiple parties are working on this, so that would definitely increase the capacity of offtake. So our supplies would increase in that mix. Rather than 100% we doing EPC versus part EPC, part equipment supply, answer is yes. The supply of equipment would increase. Quantity of supply of equipment would increase.
Correct, sir. That was really helpful. Thanks a lot, and all the best for the future quarters.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, just to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all the participants, would strictly insist participants to just go ahead with 2 questions per participant. The next question is from the line of Mr. Sudhanshu Bansal from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Sir, how do you see the repowering opportunity, particularly in terms of availability of the land where we already have the land and transmission system?
Repowering is a good subject and a good wish to go ahead and do that. But I don't think that's going to move a needle in a big way in the next couple of years. Repowering policy has come, but the repowering could have happened even without the policy. The repowering policy only helps to a limited extent that in case if you have a PPA, that PPA can get suspended for so many years and that PPA will continue later on based on the 3 years previous average generation. To that extent, we'll get the PPA continued. So other than that, there is nothing significant in the policy. Okay? So nothing more than that. The issue is that today, if somebody wants to do the repowering, you go there, you remove the existing ones, put up the new ones, and most of the repowering options are available with the state grid connected, STU connected. So the incremental capacity, if that state doesn't take, then you need to take out somewhere, then you get into the issues of you have in the state grid, state open access, state transmission charges, what really happens. There are plenty of issues, like idea is good. The generation from the given site can go up by doing the repowering, but does it give a significant impact on the cost of generation? At this stage, no, the answer is still not there. So repowering would happen in my opinion, but not like, it's going to happen something in FY25, significant capacity is going to come to repowering, no. So as NEVI has estimated 25 gigawatts of repowering potential, but realization is going to take time in our view.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepesh Kashyap from Invesco Mutual Funds. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks for taking my questions. So your contribution margin is lower quarter on quarter by like 2% odd. Can you please explain the reasons for that?
So, Deepesh, contribution margin, you're talking on a console basis or for a particular business division?
The console that you're given in the PPT.
So console, Deepesh, also is a factor of, how much of the supplies are we doing in the WTG segment for the overall business. So, I urge you to look at contribution margin from a business segment-wise. So, our direction always has been that for the WTG manufacturing, contribution margin will be in the mid-teens. Currently we are at about 17.5% contribution margin for the WTG manufacturing business, which is actually fairly in line with our plans. It was higher in Q1 at about 20%, but that we had, when we had hosted the call in Q1, we'd mentioned that is an aberration and cannot be taken as the standard going forward. But I would say that, somewhere around mid-teens would continue as the contribution margin for the manufacturing business. So far as the O&M business is concerned, our contribution margin will be roughly a little north of 60%, which continues to be the case. Of course, the blend on a console basis will depend on, what is the mix of the manufacturing numbers along with the O&M numbers.
Understood, sir. Secondly, if you can also highlight what part of your order book is still for the 2 megawatt turbines. And secondly, also you mentioned earlier in the call that you're not participating in that PSU orders, right? So just want to understand how will you maintain or increase your market share? These are two questions. Thank you.
See, the 120 share today in the 3.1 gigawatts is about, roughly about 20 to 23% is the 2 megawatt share. I don't know what you mean by the market share in what? Is it in order book or is it in supplies? I don't know, commissioning. In the commissioning, we're maintaining 30% market share consistently as quarter-on-quarter basis. As I said that the option of NTPC EPC tender is one of the options for us to increase the order book. At this stage, we are not having a pressure for, not participating in that is reducing any way of that because we are seeing the significant interest flowing in terms of order books for us. And we announced and then we do have a number of potential orders which we are discussing with various people. While we would love to participate in that tender, but I don't think that's in any manner affecting our order book share.
So just to be clear, with the improved balance sheet, with the net worth and everything, are you now allowed to participate in those orders or not?
See, NTPC has a different type of a qualification criteria. Not it is today, they look at PO, there's a different formula. See, unless they change that. In fact, they're keen that we participate, obviously, because we're the largest EPC player. So, you want to answer that?
So, we do qualify the page. I mean, it also depends, as you are saying, on the qualification criteria. But once our March 24 audited numbers are out sometime in May, post that there would be clearly no doubts about our qualification because that would be the first sort of audited balance sheet with a positive net worth that we'd be issuing. So there would be no gray area. We certainly would qualify under all parameters in those tenders.
But then also we will evaluate each of those bids in terms of alternate opportunity versus bidding there because we have a X amount of capacity. Because many of these tenders will come with very stringent conditions, stringent payment terms, okay, back-ended payment terms and things like that. So therefore, obviously, even we get qualified, it is not necessary that we'll participate in every bid. We will evaluate the options. What would be the best option for us to book our entire capacity? So in that, if that finds a place, obviously we'll participate.
Got it, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Naresh.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we would request all the participants to restrict questions to just one question per participant. The next question is from the line of Vikash Mukundan from Freelance Consultant. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Fantastic numbers, sir, and thanks for this opportunity to talk about it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Go ahead,
This question is from Mr. Modi. Sir, I saw your interview on NDTV Profit on January 4th when you mentioned that your order book as of that day was shy of 2 gigawatts. But I see in today's presentation, end of December, your order book is about 2290 megawatts. So does it mean between the 4 days implementation or other deliveries of 290 megawatts?
So, yeah, that would have been, because of the RR numbers that we would not have made public at that point in time, the 170 megawatts. So, the differential would be on account of that, broadly.
Okay. So, and if you can just tell me what is the difference between installation and delivery?
So there are two things you need to look at, which we track, and we also disclose that in our investor presentation slides. So one is the RR, which is the revenue recognition, which means that the full turbine dispatch from our factory premises based on which we book the revenue for a particular turbine. So that for the 9 months period, we've done about 437 megawatts in this financial year. The other parameter is what we monitor is commissioning of the turbines. So, that is an all India number is about 2.1 gigawatts that has been commissioned in 9 months ending December 23. And out of the 2.1 gigawatts, Suzlon share has been about 611 megawatts in the commissioning numbers. So commissioning has to be clearly differentiated from the delivery numbers or the revenue recognition numbers that we report.
And this commissioning is Suzlon turbines or could be other company turbines as well?
What we track is only Suzlon supplies. The 616 when we talk about our turbines, either we directly commissioned or we supervise the commissioning where it's only an equipment supply. These are our turbines.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we would take that as the last question for today. On behalf of JM Financial, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.
Thank you.